Hello and welcome back to the Creative Differences Podcast. My name is Dallas, and all you people review bombing She-Hulk, you're all idiots.
I'm Colin, and it's like I don't want to say that Alex Garland is partially at fault, but for some reason I do. I'll think about it more.
Okay, I have questions.
And I'm Demi, and I just think that if you're review bombing anything at all that you've never seen, what are you doing with your life? Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, we will be reviewing Archer, The Lord of the Rings of Power, and She-Hulk.
That is true.
That's what we're calling a lot of you guys out. There's a lot of review bombing going around for 2 out of 3 of these things.
Yeah, it's gonna be wait, 2? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, right.
It's gonna be a fun one.
God forbid your magical world has people of color. Dragons, that's fine, but ooh.
Not the colors.
Can't cross that line.
Gabby's not here, as you can tell. She's never here. She's trying to learn to throw ass like She-Hulk, so she's focused on that right now. She needed to take a day.
I mean, that one I would believe.
Yeah, it's true. That's why I said it. Before we get into the episode, please like, share, subscribe, rate, comment.
Subscribe, dude.
Yeah, so many of you are not subscribed.
We need the audience to subscribe to the channel. 99% of you guys are not subscribed.
Yeah.
I know. I just looked at the analytics.
Because I don't want to have to pull an Ann Coulter from the Boondocks and start spewing controversial nonsense online to make a name for myself. But
we don't like doing clickbait, guys.
I don't know that I'll be above it. I got some right-wing talking points I'll pull out of my pocket. Don't make me do it.
Dallas.
Don't make me do it.
You won't.
Colin, don't tempt me.
You were just watching a whole video about like Kanye West and how he's positioned himself. And don't become that.
Look how famous he is.
If you start selling pancake batter shoes, I'm out.
Let's get started, guys. First up, Dallas is going to be telling us about Archer season 13.
Season 13. But first, Colin, who did you say? Alex Garland?
Alex Garland.
Who is that?
The guy who directed
and other things, but that's why I was bringing it up.
Okay. Is that Ex Machina guy?
Yeah, also Ex Machina.
That's what I was like, robots. What's he talking about? I got it.
Ex Machina is great.
Back to Archer.
I was thinking of men, but anyway.
You got it. Back to Archer. It is created by Adam Reed, the creator of C-Lab 2021 and Frisky Dingo. Haven't watched those. It stars H. John Benjamin, Judy Greer, Amber Nash, Chris Parnell, Aisha Tyler, and Lucky Yates. And used to star the late, great Jessica Walter. IMDb summary states, covert black ops and espionage take a backseat to zany personalities and relationships between secret agents and drones. First things first. Kayla and I have recently started rewatching Archer from season 1.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, for the last few episodes of this season, I was in the process of revisiting seasons 1 and 2. And it made me appreciate this season so much more because of the way it's changed over time. This show is so good. It's been good since 2009 or whenever it came out. But just the writing has always been impressive. But seeing how they've kept up with the times really impresses me. I said impressive twice. It's fine. Some of the jokes in season 1 age really badly.
That's how that goes.
Yes. Today, they wouldn't do the exact same stuff. And a lot of people like to complain. It's one of my least favorite complaints in any kind of media is like, well, you can't make any jokes anymore. Everybody's so sensitive. You can never say that today. You'll get canceled. That's how you all sound to me. But Archer, it has the same energy that it always had. It hasn't lost the feeling of pushing boundaries. It's just the fact that comedy changes over time. For the most part, even if it's not about, quote unquote, being too offensive. If you're making the same jokes you were making in 2009, and not changing anything, you're not good at it. So everybody stop whining about that. That's not a complaint that people have about Archer specifically. It's just a
comedy thing.
You can never make any kind of show. My example is always like, they're still making Archer. They're still making Always Sunny. They're still making these shows that push the boundaries.
And they're still funny, apparently, because people are still watching them.
Archer is so good. This is going to be me saying things I love about it. The season's great. So there's that. It's some of the best voice acting performances that people don't really talk about. And I think part of that is because, for the most part, these aren't voice actors who are very well known in the voice acting world, or like they're known, but they're not like, it's not Greg Griffin, it's not Tara Strong, it's not the voice actors you hear in every single show. Like H. John Benjamin is very prolific, and Chris Parnell now with Rick and Morty has been known more, but like Aisha Tyler's phenomenal, Judy Greer, her chaotic energy is so great, and she never gets to play a character like this, aside from Arrested Development, and I'll circle back to that. But also, Amber Nash, Lucky Yates, Adam Reed, who created the show and voices Ray. They're all great. Speaking of Arrested Development, Adam Reed described the show, I guess, as James Bond meets Arrested Development. And it makes so much sense because Jessica Walter was basically playing her same character on Arrested Development, like the cold, very mean, casually racist matriarch of a whole group who doesn't treat anyone well, including her children. But she's so good at it. I miss her. She was great. And it makes sense. These people are terrible, but they care about each other in their way. And that's one thing that I think the show has now that it didn't always have before. Because before it was just mean-spirited joke. They were funny, but over time it got to the point, maybe around like season 3 or 4, when they show that these characters have a kind of weird love for each other.
Okay.
Like 2 of my favorite episodes this season are the one where Archer actually goes to therapy, which if anybody needs therapy in fiction, it's Archer. And the one where Lana's in a custody battle.
Huh, okay.
Because in both of these episodes, the whole team mounts up to help these personal life situations. Like, these aren't spy missions.
Mm-hmm.
They become that because that's what the show is. And the show was very good at taking a situation that would happen in an everyday kind of show and turning it into a spy mission. Like, oh, Lana's ex-husband is trying to get custody of her child. So we have this elaborate plan. We're going to have fight scenes. We're going to have to distract this person and this person. We're going to be spies over this custody battle. I'm definitely going to talk more at the end of the year because this will be on my list.
Okay.
And I will get into the Archer Needs Therapy episode because that one is fantastic. But Colin, question for you.
Me. Answer for you.
Did you like this show when you watched it years ago?
I think so.
Okay, it's interesting because I watched this show and I think you would hate it because like the whole thing about, what'd you say to me?
I was going to say Colin's taste in things have changed a lot since 2010.
Yeah.
I know because I went to high school with Colin, so I know how much his tastes have changed.
Right. It's just your lack of tolerance for shows that are basically just everyone is terrible.
Yeah.
Outside of Game of Thrones.
I mean, they have some redeemable characters, right?
A very small number, but yes.
Here's the thing about Game of Thrones. With Game of Thrones, it was different because I also read the books, and you get inside people's heads more, and so it's harder to see them. Like, yeah, they're terrible, but you still get more of their thoughts. You get more of an understanding about why they're doing what they're doing. Okay. And so it's a little bit harder to just be like, that's a terrible person, write them off.
Got you. Okay. And I think that's kind of what I have here. Like, after 13 seasons, when these people are just saying all these terrible things to each other, but they stop to have these moments of caring for each other. Like the way that the last season ends with like Lana crying and Archer holding her, and there's no joke there. That's season 12, so I shouldn't be talking about it. But it goes to show that the show has evolved over time.
Right.
And yeah, it's just so good. It's like consistently good and evolving. The animation is great because, oh boy, season 1, this show looked, oh man, it's just like cutouts walking on like a background. Like they didn't do much with their movement. And I'm very glad it was so funny because I wouldn't have stuck with it past that kind of animation. But yeah, it's really good now. It's smooth. They're really good at drawing hot characters because so many characters are just like...
Animators in general are really good at that. And
Yeah. And the whole thing is like, Archer's a big thirst bag and he's a hoe. So they're going to need to draw a lot of hot extras for him to go after. And the same applies to maybe all of them. God, they're such a hazardously horny bunch. But great show. Great show. I hope they continue doing this until
they run out of ideas.
Stops. Yeah. Because I don't think they're going to run out of ideas. But yeah, if you like Arrested Development, Always Sunny, or any of those other like really well-written comedies about terrible people, I recommend Archer. So you have a lot of work to get through. It's 13 seasons. What's up, Colin?
See, I feel like I shouldn't say this because it might take away from you later, but hazardously horny is just a great concept and also just a great name for Gabby.
Yep.
I was like, it is a fantastic alliteration right there.
I love it. All right, that's Archer.
Dope. I guess that means we're going to move on to The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, which was developed by Patrick McKay and John D. Payne. You guys might know their writing from Star Trek Beyond and nothing else. This TV show is based on the writings of J.R.R. Tolkien. And, okay, bear with me. This is a long cast list.
Okay.
It stars Morfydd Clark, Robert Aramayo, Owain Arthur, Sophia Nomvet, Ishmael Cruz Cordova, Charlie Vickers, Markella Kavanaugh, Megan Richards, Daniel Wayman, Cynthia Adai Robinson, Lloyd Owen, and Nazanin Boniadi. There are actually so many other people on this show, but those were the ones that I was like, these are the main players, so I'm just going to name them off. Yeah, so it's on Amazon Prime. I guess I should probably read a synopsis for anybody who doesn't know anything about Lord of the Rings. An epic drama set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings follows an ensemble cast of characters both familiar and new as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth. Yep, that's about it. The whole first season is basically about the rise of a dark force. Well, yeah, like I said, a reemergence of a dark force. Basically start off the show with Galadriel, who is in belief that this dark force still exists and nobody really believes her or agrees with her. First of all, I want to say I love this show. Okay. I think it's great. Thursday nights became my like high fantasy nights where I would watch like 4 to 5 hours of Critical Role and then immediately go watch an episode of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Nice.
And I had a great time doing it. It was really cool every Thursday night to get into this show. First off, it is visually stunning. We talked about the price tag on this show.
I was going to say, given the price tag.
Well, to be fair, half of that price tag is actually just the price of the rights to the show. So,
wow.
So it's not completely just production value. But what production value there is a lot. It is a stunning show. It is one of the few shows, possibly the only show that I've ever seen where I feel like if you threw it up on a movie theater screen, it would look like a movie and it would look like it fit there.
Shout out to Harry Styles. It's like a movie.
It looks like a movie. Yeah, it looks really good. The CGI, the cinematography, everything is just so beautifully done, and it's done on such a grand and epic scale. I understand why some people might not get too into it. It's a very slow-paced show. The story does not move very, very fast at all, which I feel like is very fitting for a show that is based on the writings of Tolkien, because The Lord of the Rings is very slow-paced. That man would stop to tell you the history of a tree, and
oh boy,
I don't know why, but here we are. Plus, there's so many characters.
Okay. It sounds like it from that cast list you read.
And that wasn't even all the characters. Like, there are so many characters that we get introduced to. Some that we know about and we know their stories, and we're watching those stories unfold and reveal themselves before us. And some characters that we've never met before. I think that the actors do a fantastic job. I really love the character of Galadriel in this show. I love how badass she is and how much of she's kind of very stoic almost. Okay. She's very much a warrior, but she is also like this embodiment of the balance of good and evil and that fight and that pull between the two of them.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I like the way that her story unfolds, especially when we get to the season finale. There is a particular scene in the season finale that I absolutely adore and I thought was perfect, and it makes a really good callback to the Lord of the Rings movies. There are so many characters that I like. I really like Nori, who is one of the Harfoots. I feel like they're like the evolutionary like predecessors to the Hobbits. I think that she's a really good proxy for Frodo. Her friend is a really good proxy for Sam. Right. And I don't want to give any spoilers. But fair.
Does she lose a finger?
No, but right. But it's this idea that like the Hobbits are typically people who don't go off and do these adventures, but whenever we get a main character Hobbit, or Harfoot in this case, there is that longing for adventure, and I think she really does a good job of representing that innocence of wanting to go out into the world and see new things and do new things. The actress who plays her does a wonderful job. I really like Arendir, who is an elf on the show. I was like, black elf, let's go. Let's go.
To me, that's illegal.
Apparently.
We love to see it.
We love to see it. I really liked his character, and he has a cute little romantic storyline with one of the characters on the show.
Nice.
But yeah, I like the overall story. One of the things that I really love is that it's so weird. Everybody's it's obviously comparing it to House of the Dragon.
But
they're two very different shows. Yeah. And one of the things that I love about Lord of the Rings and about this show is that it is inherently a story about trying to find light in the darkness when when it seems like there is no light to find it all, but to continue looking for it and to try and do good, even when it feels like there are no other options, like just making the best decisions you can and trying to be as good of a person as you possibly can be. Like, it is an inherently wholesome story about trying to be good. Mm-hmm. I think this show carries that same energy. It's very poetic in its expressions of those themes. And I think that it's really rare that we get shows that are so wholly optimistic about those types of things.
That's so interesting because, I just feel like it's a really interesting time because you have House of the Dragon, where I think they said, like, we're not going to shy away from, like, being violent and having the sexual violence and stuff. And then you have Lord of the Rings. I appreciate that both of them can exist and have, I would say, I guess similar trappings is really all they have.
They have similar aesthetics because they're both fantasy. Like they have the same kind of set dressing. Here's a high fantasy, old looking type of
You got
feel.
kings, you got knights, you got cloaks, you got magic, you got
armor and swords and magic and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and I don't like comparing them because when it comes down to it, that's just set dressing. At their core, they are two very, very different stories. I don't know. Maybe we as a society are not as optimistic as we used to be when it comes to these stories.
But wouldn't you think that would mean we would want more optimism in stories because at least it exists somewhere?
I guess not. I guess we want the violence and all that stuff. But I love both shows. Don't get me wrong, I do. But yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I am super excited for season 2. The finale for season 1, it felt like to me was just the beginning of something grander and epic. And if I had to rank like the Lord of the Rings media that I have watched, obviously I would put Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings above it all.
I mean, it doesn't have to be obvious. That's the thing.
It is obvious though. That's like a perfect trilogy. But second place, I would put The Rings of Power, and then I would do The Hobbit.
Do you know if they have a plan for how long? Because like House of the Dragon has a 4-season plan.
I think The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power has a 5-season plan.
Okay. I like it better when things have plans. Like I like when things have an ending plan, you know, because then you're building towards something.
Yeah, I think this one has a 5-year plan. Okay. And I know that there are some people out there who are also upset that the show takes, creative liberties. Adaptations always take creative liberties all the time.
That's true. Mario ain't got no ass no more, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know enough about Tolkien's work to really be like, ooh, that's not accurate.
Yeah.
I can only do so much. But I really enjoyed the show for what it was. I can understand why people probably wouldn't be into it. It's slow paced. It's not very action packed. When it is, it's very, very good action. And yeah, it's sometimes very poetic, which also adds to the slowness.
Fair.
Yeah. And I guess, there are also so many characters that you have to bounce around to that sometimes it does feel like maybe we don't know these characters as well as we should to really root for them.
Okay.
Because there's like 20 people.
So many people.
There's only like 8 episodes in the first season. So having to jump around that many characters with only that amount of time, it's like maybe there should be a longer season.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic.
Nice. If you're mad about the black people, suck it.
I can't help you. In fact, I already argued with one of you guys on the internet about it, so it's too late. I don't care.
But to me, like, what was that, like geographically or some shit? Or like he described the elves as fair skin, so they all have to be fair skinned. No one can ever not be fair. I don't know. It was some like eugenics at its finest. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like based on the geography that he created, they could only evolve to be these skin tones and this and that. And I was just like, it's fantasy, bro. We made this up.
That's my favorite thing is that you can go, how do the dragons exist? Dragons, magic, that's fine. How did this woman birth a shadow from her vagina? Magic, that's fine. But then you look at people of color and you're like, ooh, I don't know about
black people as the Valarians? You must be joking.
Like, bruh, okay.
What?
When people say stuff like that, the clip that plays in my head is just Zendaya in Homecoming just saying,
you guys are losers.
It's like, that's all this is. You're that intent on disproving black people. So you guys are losers.
Speaking of angry fanboys, let's move on to She-Hulk.
Yeah.
What an unfortunate transition.
Right. I want to clarify something. Everybody I called idiots earlier. If you dislike a show and you review it saying you dislike a show, you're not who I'm talking about.
No,
if a show comes out and then you go and give it a bad review, not having seen it because of what the show is, aka Hulk is a girl, you're an idiot.
Or if you're review bombing something before it's even out.
Yeah.
Which most of you do.
You all follow under that review bomb category. Just so we know, although chances are you stopped listening when I said that. So, this is for everybody else, I guess.
Maybe they didn't know you were talking about them. Now they do.
They do now. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. It is created by Jessica Gao. She has written for shows like Rick and Morty, Robot Chicken, and Big Time Rush. Talk about the range.
That is a lot.
In the show stars Tatiana Maslany, Jamila Jamil, every once in a while, Ginger Gonzaga, Mark Ruffalo, Josh Segata? 2 R's, yeah. And appearances from Tim Roth, some other people. They're cameos. They're Marvel. It's a fun time.
Benedict Wong, Charlie Cox.
Yeah, I guess at this point, it's not spoiling.
That's not a spoiler. Everybody knew he was coming.
Yeah, and it's based on the She-Hulk comics. Marvel. IMDb summary says Jennifer Walters navigates the complicated life of a single 30-something attorney who also happens to be a green 6'7" super-powered Hulk, and a bunch of losers are mad about it. That last part is not in the summary, but it is accurate. All right, let's talk about it. Colin, did you watch it?
I did not.
Cool. Dallas.
I like it. I've seen it twice because...
Really? Oh, did Kayla binge it?
So shows that come out week to week, I watch by myself, and then I watch them again with Kayla because she likes to binge. Unless I dislike the show, in which case I'm not going to watch it again. I like the show enough to watch it again, so I've seen it twice. It's dope. It's really funny. It is something different, which is what I want and what a lot of people say they want until they get it and then like to complain. I'm digging it. I'm here for it. I like it. To me, thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. It's not like my favorite Marvel thing that's ever been made.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's good. I have a good time watching it. I think it's a well done sitcom. I think it's funny most of the times. I'm like not laughing out loud. I don't think it's like the funniest show I've ever seen either.
Yeah, it has its moments.
Yeah, but I think it's funny. When it's funny, it hits.
Yeah.
And I really like that the first episode tells you what this show is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that everybody, Marvel fans, we just have this idea of what Marvel projects are supposed to be. And it's also Marvel writers also. The writer of the season finale, I read what she said, and she was like, I was initially trying to write a finale that fit into what I had seen Marvel movies do or Marvel TV shows do before. And then I talked to Kevin Feige and realized that wasn't going to work here and didn't feel right because that wasn't what was right for the show.
It's not what the show is.
Yeah, they tell you in the first episode what the show is.
Yeah.
And if you think that they're playing you, or if you think that it's supposed to be something very Marvel-esque, it is not that.
And I just wish that people would understand that.
It sounds like people understand exactly what it is. They just don't like that it is what it is.
It's both. There are people who watch it and they're like, oh, this is a sitcom. I don't like this for what it is, a sitcom. But I've heard reviews and podcasts and people are like, what are they doing? I don't get it. And like the way they're talking about it, it's like if you watched a sitcom, you wouldn't be asking these questions. But the fact that you're watching a sitcom with a Marvel character in it, now you're confused because you think it should be a superhero show.
And I keep seeing a lot of people who are like, there's no like through line or nothing's happening on this show. And it's like, it's a sitcom. Right. Sitcoms are not like that.
You don't watch Friends looking for the final battle of Rachel and her boss at the end of the season. That though
is also like, yes, it's a sitcom thing, but also I feel like, well, I mean, it does have a through line. It does have a plot that keeps coming back around because every show has that now. Even if you have episodic episodes, you're always going to have a little bit of something to tie everything together at the end.
And most of that is just Jennifer Walters coming to terms with the fact that she is both Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk.
Right, and that's more of a character development thing than like
But that is the story. That is the through line throughout the entire thing.
And people are like, oh, what? There's like, it's nothing's happening. It's like, bro, it's a sitcom. Just watch it like a sitcom. Everything will be fine. And if you don't like it, if it's not funny to you, that's a different thing. Yeah,
because we know people who don't particularly think that the show is funny or well written. That's fine. They at least have watched the show and can say that.
Yeah, for that situation, he's just like, the show's not funny to me. He understands what the show is because a lot of people talk about it's Ally McBeal.
He also writes sitcoms, so I know that he knows what it is.
So if you don't like the show just because it's not funny to you, no problem. Preference thing.
We've talked about that before. We've talked about how easy it is to be like comedies. You either like them or you don't.
Yeah.
You either laugh or you don't. Like,
so
that's it.
I don't think everyone needs to like this show. Marvel went 14 years giving us everything that they've given us so far. Even WandaVision that came out and a lot of people thought it was going to be a sitcom.
It ended up being a Marvel product at the end.
Like that's not what that is. So people saw this and they're like, okay, it starts like a sitcom, but there's going to be evil witch or something. Like, no, bro, it's a sitcom.
It makes me think about the last review we did. I think it was the one where I talked about Miss Marvel. And I was talking about like, yeah, I like where this is starting out. I know eventually it's going to turn into you have to fight a supervillain because that's what Marvel does. And so it is interesting to me that this is different and that this is actually different. Like I applaud them for that because that's the cool thing about comics is that there are so many of them that you can strike 1,000 different tones in each different one and it's totally fine. And that should translate to television because why wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like comics are a medium. You can do different things with them. Marvel is a superhero comic company, so I get that it's going to be a superhero story. In its own way, this is that too, especially toward the end. But what worried me, the last 2 episodes are my favorite, by the way, is the way that the second to last episode ends. I was like, oh no. Now this show's going to try to be something it hasn't been for 8 episodes. And I was like, this is going to be a jarring tonal shift if we watch 8 episodes of a sitcom and then the 9th episode
is just
a Marvel finale for a show we didn't watch. And I was like, oh, no. And they did something very different.
Radically different.
Did not expect and gave me vibes of a very specific Atlanta episode from this season, but I want to get into why because that would be a spoiler. But it's so funny having seen that like recently and then seeing this. But I love what they did, what they ended up doing.
I got to admit, after watching the finale, I sat there for a while and was like, did I I was like, no, I enjoyed the finale. Do I feel like it ended the show the way that it needed to? And I think I came to the conclusion of, yes, it did.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the through line is, it's about Jennifer and She-Hulk.
Right.
It's not about anything else. Don't fall into the trap of it's about the supervillains or anything like that.
Right.
It's about her. And she has said that all throughout the show, it's about me.
Right. This is my show.
Yeah. So based off of that, I'm like, oh yeah, no, this finale works. It's also super hilarious and wild.
I loved it. But yeah, obviously we can't go into details.
Yeah, we're trying not to
speaking
spoil things.
of her, I love Tatiana Maslany.
She's really good on this.
Now, I've never seen her before.
I also have not.
Welcome to the goddamn club, bitches.
Right? I looked for that show Orphan Black on my website that I looked for streaming things. I can't find it anywhere, but
it's not anywhere.
Are you saying?
I looked it up too.
It is definitely in places you have to pay for it, I think. But it is.
Yeah, you have to pay for like every episode.
I have to look again.
I remember because it's funny, I've never actually finished it.
Yeah.
But I've restarted it multiple times, and I did so like 2 years ago. So it is available.
Okay.
You can find it. And especially because it's getting a sequel series, I'm sure it will become...
It'll pop up somewhere.
...more available soon.
Oh, yeah. They'll have to... Somebody's going to get it. She's great. She's funny. She's charming. I love Jennifer Walters. Just the way she acts. Her fourth wall breaks work very well.
Yeah.
Obviously, as the biggest Deadpool fan in the world, I appreciate a good fourth wall break. Yeah, just the way that she approaches everything. It's like, I can't help but root for you.
I love the way that she's written.
Mm-hmm.
And because this is a sitcom, it's really just us getting to watch her get into these situations that she has to find her way out of or try to fix or whatever. We were talking about the story sort of, and then we got on the tangent about fandom. And I love how meta this show is. Yeah. And like they know who's watching this show.
Right.
And they know who's going to complain. They know what they're going to complain about. There's one joke that comes to mind, which is like, Wong is in the episode and she's like, oh, Wong's back. Oh, it's like a whole week of like Twitter armor.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what?
The reason those jokes hit for me so well is because the people they're about prove them right.
Every week.
Because they wrote these things in advance. It's not like the episode came out and then you guys all complained and then they wrote a response to it. They wrote all of this out. They knew what you were going to say and then you guys said it verbatim.
Which really adds to the show, in my opinion.
Right. The jokes write themselves because you guys are so upset.
You wrote the jokes for them.
Right. Like, you guys are the joke.
You guys wrote the show.
And I see why you're so angry about it, because they're making fun of you because you're losers. Yeah, stuff like that is great. Like you said, there are moments where I did laugh out loud.
Yeah. The
show as a whole, it's not my favorite, not my favorite sitcom.
No.
There are moments that are really good. Some moments don't land. With any especially superhero show that has a female protagonist, there's going to be they're trying too hard to push the feminist agenda. And it's because she's a girl and they want to push girl power.
Are we going to the pilot?
Blah, blah. Maybe. My thing isn't about that line everybody talked about.
Oh. The
character Dennis that they work with in the beginning. So he is in the pilot. The really stupid guy.
Yeah.
He feels like such a caricature of like a straight white man that the jokes didn't really land for me, because at that point it's like, I get it, but the jokes you're doing that hit a little more real work better for me than this idiot. At one point, he says, there's an attractive woman over there. I'm going to go talk to it. People don't talk like that.
So that took you out.
It's just like, okay, at this point, I don't want to say like, oh, you guys are trying too hard to poke fun at like, dumb guys, because I don't want to sound like the guys who complain about feminism or whatever. But just like, when you do stuff like that, I'm sure for somebody that joke works. Yeah. It's obviously comedy is a matter of preference, but it's just like, dial it back a little bit.
I think She-Hulk is a show that gets better with every episode, in my opinion, because you say something like that and I'm like, yeah, that's probably very true for that first episode. But then we get to like the season finale and we have Pug in the situation that he's in.
I love Pug.
Pug is great.
He's one of my favorite characters. And I love whenever a show is making fun of a certain type of person.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have someone from that demographic who's not that type of person.
And that's Pug.
Like, if your show is a bunch of white people, you can't have the black person be loud and be the only black person. If your show is some of these dudes are stupid, you have to have a character like Pug that shows we're not just saying men equals bad. We're saying this type of man equals bad. And Pug is the perfect character, because that scene, I think it's the last episode, when Nikki is trying to tell him how to talk like these people, and she says, make sure you only refer to women as females. His like disgusted growl, like I rewound it like twice. She's like, oh, and only call women females. She's like, like he's like, I don't want to interact with these people. And
I don't want to be here. I also am a fan of Josh Segarra because he was on another comedy that I really liked.
Okay.
And I thought he was so funny on that. And he was kind of dumb on that show, which is hysterical. Like, he's not dumb.
He's not dumb, but he's goofy in his way. He's a
bro. But he's a good bro. And I love him.
The drip broker, when he's trying to get those shoes. Like, yo, I'm trying to get these new Iron Man 3 shoes. Like,
he's so dope. I love him. We need a season 2 just for Pug. There were so many great like comedic characters that pop up on the show. I think everybody loved Madison.
Yeah.
I loved seeing Wong on the show, obviously. I think the Abomination storyline was very interesting.
Yeah, I like what they did. And I love that this is a comedy because they can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
With these characters.
And then, I mean, we haven't really talked about the Daredevil appearance, but I do think that they did a wonderful job with Daredevil's appearance on the show, making him still be Daredevil while also being in a comedy and making him fit the setting that he's in. Yeah,
they did it very well. Every time he popped on screen, I got super excited. He comes in, does the lawyer thing well, does the superhero thing well. I was telling Kayla, I think Matt Murdock he's on his way to being my favorite MCU character.
He's up there.
Because Charlie Cox is a big reason because he's great. He's so charming. He's funny. He's a great superhero. And just like, all of his scenes were fun. We got a hallway fight.
We did.
I was so excited. I was so excited to get the hallway fight. And he does everything so well. And their back and forth was great.
They have a lot of good chemistry, yeah.
Of them going back and forth when, like, you know, they're going to go fight these dudes. And at this point, she's a lawyer. She's not a vigilante.
Yeah.
And he's like, just let me do my thing. She was like, you let me do my thing. He says, you don't have a thing. You never do this.
Oh, one of my favorite things about that is when she's doing the dance, when she says, let me do my thing. And I'm just like, Jennifer, you're so cute.
She's adorable.
You're
and
adorable.
She's so silly. Daredevil, he's my favorite part of the show. He's a big part of the reason why the last 2 episodes are my favorite.
Yeah.
Because he's just great. And the music that plays, when he says I'm Daredevil and they play the intro music from the Netflix show, I was like,
And then, oh man, there's a CGI joke later on in the show, in the finale, and it plays the Black Panther music over it.
I loved it so much.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier the pilot because a lot of people were complaining about She-Hulk being very confident in her ability to keep her anger under control. And I really like the fact that the show brings that back around in the finale.
Okay.
Because I feel like one of the through lines is that we get to see her. It looks like she is actually very much in control. Like she is, you know, she knows what she's doing. She can handle this.
Right.
But then she gets into a situation where she can't handle it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the show is saying that Bruce was right. I don't think Bruce approached the situation correctly.
Right.
I think he assumed something about Jennifer and she was like, that's not who I am. I think the show is really making a commentary on when women get angry, like when they always have to be in control, but when they lose that control, when they show that slightest bit of anger, then perspective of them turns very quickly. And I think that's what they were showing with Jennifer.
I see what you mean.
Like Jennifer's reasonings for being angry at the end of that episode is perfectly justified.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the moments where we've seen Bruce Banner just kind of Hulk out and like what were the reasonings behind those reasons, and I'm sure that there are a few of them that are definitely rational and reasonable,
right,
but they're very different and they're not targeted.
Yeah, they're different kinds of Hulks, and that's why that first scene, like that first episode, the way that Bruce is doing things, I understand it from his perspective because he's like, yo, since I became this thing, any little thing could result in the death of so many people.
It could result in the destruction of a city.
Right. Like, you have to be very careful. You have to, and he doesn't understand that that's not her situation.
Not at all.
Like, when she first turns and he's like, oh, wait, you're still Jen. So at that point, it's like, okay, this is uncharted territory for us.
It's a very targeted thing that makes her angry. And it's a very gendered thing that happens to her, too.
Yeah. And I like how it works. One of the things that Mallory says, shout out to Renee
Elise Goldsberry. She's so good on the show.
One of the things that she says is that's not what they saw. They saw an out of control Hulk.
Yeah.
It's one thing for a woman to get angry and be looked at as difficult or all these things that people say about women, but it's another thing for a giant green superhero, super strong person to get angry and start roaring at us.
Yeah.
And whoa. Now we can't take any chances.
Yeah, exactly. But
that was an interesting thing.
Mallory Book, also a fantastic character.
She's great.
Loved her. There are so many like moments in the show that I really, really enjoyed, and this feels like a show that you would just kind of kick back and watch. And
yeah, like a sitcom.
It's inconsequential, but it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. That's the thing. Go watch for laughs. Get some superhero cameos.
Yeah, they're not quite doing the superhero thing. And the show even calls itself out on the idea of them doing the superhero thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like how meta and self-referential this show is.
Yeah.
And how much it knows. I think that that's like one of the most intelligent things about this show. And it clearly knows what it is. It knows what it's doing, and it's trying to tell you what it's doing. And if you don't believe that that's what they're doing, they will call you out on the fact that you don't believe them.
It's like we told you already.
But there's also some fun setup for the future as well.
Yeah.
Mostly with Hulk.
Didn't see that coming.
Did not either.
But yeah, I'm with it. It was a fun time. Like I said with the Werewolf by Night review, I'm just very glad that Marvel is doing so many different things now. Because now I can come to Marvel for a sitcom or an old school monster movie or, you know.
Or a sitcom homage.
Right. Or, you know, your typical espionage spy thriller or whatever. Just keep doing different things and we happy. I'm happy.
Oh, we didn't talk about the CGI, which is okay.
My only note is I didn't mind it. The trailer came out and people were like, oh my God, the CGI. And I was like, I said what I always say. I'm going to watch it. If it's bad, I'm going to get over it immediately. It doesn't take me out of something that much for something I know is fake to look that fake.
I've watched enough low budget sci-fi things that like I don't care at this point.
Right.
But it is very noticeable. And I think it's also very noticeable because we know what's going on behind the scenes with all the visual effects houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this doesn't have to be a thing. You have all the money in the world.
Yeah. And I don't think it looks trash or terrible.
Yeah, it just looks... It's fine.
They've done better work.
Yeah.
That's the thing
that's
is,
fine.
I feel like that's the issue is not how it... I feel like how it looks is not inherently the issue. It's how it looks when you know that it's being produced by one of the richest companies in the world.
Yeah. It is passable.
Yeah. And for me, I just need it to be passable so I can watch it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's on an N64, so I'm fine.
I would like Marvel to slow down a little bit, though, so that the CGI quality could be across the board consistent quality. Because some movies, it's like, wow, that looks amazing. And then you get some other movies and you're like, yo, that's all right.
We don't want them pushing out stuff like Mr. Chocolate.
Or like even within the same movie, you might be like, that looks great. That doesn't.
Right. But yeah, I'm fine with it. That is She-Hulk.
We went on longer than we were supposed to about She-Hulk.
We always do.
That's what happens when we talk about Marvel shows, especially ones as controversial as She-Hulk. Stop review bombing. It's really not as bad as you guys are making it out to be.
Also, I just want to say, speaking of misogyny, I have made a conscious decision going forward to stop or maybe slow down on my attributing prejudices to Colin. Because you guys know I definitely would have said Colin hates women because he didn't watch She-Hulk. And I didn't say that. So just know it's not always going to happen.
We're drawing back on those jokes, guys.
We're dialing it back a little bit. I'm weaning myself off. Next time I might throw one at him, but I'm taking some time off.
Are we doing a 10-minute take with Colin? Did you watch something?
You did.
Yeah. I just want to say I really appreciate that. And God, I was so afraid when you said, speaking of misogyny, like, where was that going to go?
Yeah.
Ooh. But thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Especially because it's not true.
Yeah, you know. But that's
mainly that, you know. But, you know.
Mainly that.
Anyway, 10-minute takes with me.
Yes.
So I did do a 10-minute take this morning, or like 2 hours ago, whenever it was.
Sweet.
And I watched the first 10 minutes of the original Leverage, not to be confused with the Leverage Redemption, which I guess is the series that like they came out with like this year or something.
Okay.
Leverage is, I mean, I don't know what it's about because I've watched the first 10 minutes and I think every episode is a different. They're all labeled the something job, so I think it's like every episode is a different thing.
Okay.
I think they're heist. It's a heist show, isn't it?
It's a heist show. Well, as far as I can tell, yeah. Like that's how it starts. Is this dude being approached in a bar by this other dude being like, "Hey, these people stole my plans for this aviation stuff. Can you get it back?" And he's like, "I'm not a thief." And he's like, "That's fine. I have people who are thieves. I just need you to like keep them on track. So like, can you do it?" And the guy's like, "All right." And then it cuts to the actual heist, and it's about 5 minutes of the planning, 5 minutes of the trying to get the guy into it, and then 5 minutes of the heist itself.
Okay.
And I mean, it seems pretty solid. It's interesting because I think what I've heard about the show is that the reason that people like it so much is because it's a heist show, but like they go after like big corporations and stuff.
Got it.
And people who have like been hurting other people and stuff like that. So it's like there is some sort of morally right component to this.
Okay.
And that's what the setup of this is, because the guy whose plans got stolen, when he's talking to the guy who wants to hire, is like, hey, this company is like, they have a deal with the insurance company that you worked for that then somehow let his son die, I guess. So it's like, you can make this personal and get back at them. It's like, that's probably why he does it. So that's interesting. I mean, it's funny. The only real complaint I have is that it looks old, but because it is relevant. I mean, it's not old.
It was made in like the 2000s, right?
Yeah, and it looks like a 2000s show. Like you just
right.
Yeah, our technology has vastly improved.
How quickly it has improved.
Filmmaking technological advance extremely quickly when you consider the fact that we've only been doing filmmaking since like early 1900s.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, all technology. I mean, we didn't have computers in like the 50s, and now you have a computer in your pocket that you can take anywhere. I mean, anyway, I could talk about that for hours because it's so fucking weird. But I don't know. It's interesting. Will I keep watching it? I doubt it. But like, what I would be interested to know is just how do you spin this out for 5 seasons? Like, how do you make a heist show that engaging for 5 seasons? I don't know, but apparently they did it.
I have a show to add to Colin's list.
Ooh, sometimes.
All right, I'm down. Do it.
I will.
Anyway, that is my 10-minute take. I watched Leverage. It was, it was fun. Check it out if you like heist shows.
Dope.
Or heist movies, I'm assuming.
Or heist movies. Yeah, things about heists. You like heisting. Thievery.
Trailer tracking news?
Trailer tracking news.
Let's get it. What's the first trailer?
Gotham Knights. We got a cinematic trailer for Gotham Knights, and it looks dope.
I love the marketing for this game. Like, since the first trailer we got, which was, I think, the first ever DC fandom a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which you guys can listen to our episode about that to hear our initial reactions to this video game. I'm super stoked about this game coming out, and it's coming out, like, what, this week?
Yeah, very soon.
Thank you, Colin, because he bought it for my birthday. He pre-ordered it for me, so I'm super excited.
You're welcome.
It just looks so cool. And honestly, like, the way that this trailer goes, I know that the DCEU is still working out their stuff. Mm-hmm. I would totally watch a movie like this where it's just the 4 Batman. That was mostly why I was excited about the video game, was like, we have so many Batman video games. And I just think it's so fun to get to play all of his sidekicks. I think it's so cool.
It looks really dope. I would definitely watch this story or play this story. I'm really into like the cutscenes in the video games.
Yeah.
So like I'll play this game to watch this game. Like I want to see the story that they're telling. And also I want to shoot people with Jason Todd.
But also it's a co-op, which means that when I get it, Dallas, you can play it with me.
I need to get PS5.
Okay, so God, I heard about this because people were yelling about it because they yell about everything.
They do.
I believe it is 2-player couch, but 4-player online, which is why people were upset, because why can't you do 4-player couch? But
good question.
But also, we can't do 4-player until November anyway. Colin, I did have a question for you, because there is a controversy that did recently come out about this game.
What up, my man?
It is capped at 30 frames per second. What is your feel on that?
I don't give a single fuck.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't tell. There's a weird thing, especially with PC gamers, where it's like, I want to get the most frames possible. And mostly I think it's for multiplayer shooting games. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means to be 30. I don't know what it means to be 60. I don't know what it means to be 120. But people go crazy for that shit. I don't care. Whenever I hear about cap, it usually sounds like we're trying to make sure it performs as well as possible. I think that's what matters.
It does sound like that's what the game developers are trying to do because of the co-op situation and the way that they've got it set up. And it's an open world game.
It's an open world game?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that for me.
It'll be fine. People can play it and it'll be fine. Like, I feel like people get too hung up on stuff like that. I mean, I get it. It's an aspect of the game. People can get hung up on CG in movies. It's the same thing. I don't know. To me, it's just like, but do you enjoy the game, though? Like,
I mean, it's not out yet, so they can't tell you.
I know. Well, I mean, people have gotten their hands on it and have played it for a couple hours and such, so we have gotten some previews of it, but not like the world at large.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Gotham Knights campaign will only support single-player or 2-player co-op.
So no more 4?
You can't do 4.
The 4-player isn't until November.
Well, I was unsure if the 4-player would be you could go through the campaign 4-player, but no, you can't.
Oh,
There's a separate thing in November called Heroic Assault that is in like arena-based challenge thing where you fight a bunch of people.
Okay.
That's 4 players.
That sounds like what they did for Ghost of Tsushima, which also now has a multiplayer aspect to it as well. But you don't do the campaign as a multiplayer. You do like arena stuff.
Yeah, but like it seems weird that they wouldn't when this is a story about 4 people.
I mean, I thought that initially as well, especially since the Suicide Squad game is 4-player co-op.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't care. I haven't played a co-op game in so long.
Yeah, I was thinking recently about the fact that like when we were younger, go to a friend's house, play video games. It didn't really happen much. Like you and I played Def Jam not too long ago.
And that's a PlayStation 2 game.
That's a PlayStation 2 game. And that's happened once in like since I've lived here. Yeah. So it's not a really common
That's only because usually
days.
There's other people here.
We're in our 30s. We got stuff to do.
Although, like, I'm really excited about the idea that I can play Gotham Knights with you. I think it would be cool if we took a day to play Gotham Knights together.
Blasting people.
You can be Jason Todd, and I'll figure out which of the other 3 I want to main as. I'm not sure yet.
They all look super cool though, and I love the actual story that's being told with
Court of Owls.
Yeah, and just Alfred saying all the things that people have said about these
all their
4.
insecurities,
right? And like, is that all you see? Because that's not what we see. It's not what Bruce saw. Rip.
And there's also so many other like villains in this game too. I've seen like the designs for Harley Quinn, the Penguins in it. Like there's a number of villains in this game, so I'm very excited to see what the game is going to be about.
Yeah, should be dope.
And the gameplay, I do like a good fighting game. Next trailer.
Wendell and Wild. I'm so excited.
Black people really do add flavor to whatever they do.
We do.
We really do.
Henry Selick, shout out to him. And
Jordan Peele.
Obviously, Jordan Peele wrote. So I thought they directed it together. Henry Selick directed it. Henry and Jordan wrote it together, which I'm with it. Like everything about this new trailer. Because the teaser or trailer, whatever it was, came out. And I was like, I'm definitely going to watch that. It looks cool. But then this one came out. And it just has so much. They're telling you more of the story. There's more of the flavor. Angela Bassett's in there talking now. That song, which I looked up, it's by Doechii, a rapper that I'm not familiar with. I think the song's called I Told Him. I looked for it, couldn't find it. But
only for the trailer.
I will find that song once this comes out because that song goes so hard. And just the way that they're portraying the character, like her whole goth look with the green hair.
The aesthetic is her. It's a vibe.
My demon's my problem. Bad things happen to people who are close to me. They die. It's so dramatic. I love it.
It's giving me, so with, Wednesday coming out very soon on Netflix as well, and their most recent trailer, which we haven't discussed, but it was a really good trailer.
Right.
Like that character is kind of giving me like Wednesday vibes, but black, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. And we make everything better. It looks like a dope movie. I'm excited for it.
I do really like Henry Selick, mostly because I'm a huge The Nightmare Before Christmas fan. That is like one of my favorite movies to watch around Halloween time or just any time of the year, really. Let's be honest. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of that movie. So I'm excited to see this one. Jordan Peele, Keegan-Michael Key are absolutely hysterical. And it seems like they're going to be very funny in this movie while also having some like horror elements in there.
Yeah. And I'm glad to see them together again because a lot of the stuff that Jordan Peele is most known for now is
his horror movies.
Horror movies and stuff that Keegan-Michael Key isn't really involved in. Like they did Toy Story 4 together, which was cool to see them or hear them together again.
But they're also supporting characters in that movie.
Yeah. So them being the title characters of this movie, I think it's going to be great. I love me some horror comedy. I love me some animation. I love me some black people. I'm with it. And with all of this, I'm very excited. Speaking of horror, oh boy, Megan.
Yo.
That trailer. So.
I don't even know, man. Part of me wants to watch it because it looks so insane. But the other part of me is like, no, you'll be frightened. It looks like Chucky for the current age.
Which is why they're going back and forth on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't.
This trailer came out, and then the Chucky Twitter account reposted it with everybody trying to be me. And then Megan responded with like something like that, like, "Oh, you're that girl when you cause all this discourse." And then like, it was great.
Oh no!
I love social media.
Give those people behind the social media accounts a raise.
Like Allison Williams,
who I love, by the way.
She's great.
She keeps doing horror movies, and I can't watch them except for Get Out.
I love Allison Williams. Violet McGraw is great. She was in Hill House and maybe Bly Manor. She's in some stuff, but she's really good. Blumhouse, always with it. Just, it looks, it's funny because it looks like a movie that I don't think I would bother with. Normally, it's a creepy doll.
I was wondering why I knew the name Violet McGraw. It was like bugging me. I was like, I've never seen Haunting of Hill House, so I don't know why that name means anything. She's baby Yelena in Black Widow.
That's the other thing. I was like, there was something in it that Demi would know her from. She was baby Yelena. She's also in Dr. Sleep, which is fantastic. She's a talented kid. I hope she keeps getting work. Man, Megan looks so creepy, but I'm here for it. I'm here to watch this ridiculous January horror movie.
I just need you to watch it so you can tell us what song she's dancing to in the trailer.
When she started dancing, I was like, what are we doing?
Is there music at all?
This trailer is so funny to me because we were talking about how so many horror trailers now, if they involve a kid or like a parent-child relationship kind of, there's going to be the family moment, the happy music, they're driving, they're doing their thing, and then halfway through there's going to be the everything gets dark and the music cuts off and it gets scary. And they did that with this, despite the fact that once we saw that doll, we knew this was a horror movie.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
There's no way that's not a horror movie.
There's
and y'all
no
just
way
going to keep on.
This is a wholesome movie.
I'm Megan. I'm your friend. But the effects look great because Megan looks creepy, but because she's supposed to. She doesn't look like bad effects creepy. She looks like, oh my God, if they made a doll like this in real life, that's probably what it would look like, and it's horrifying.
And also, I don't want it anywhere near me.
Yeah, when she started running on all fours to chase that boy,
no,
I was like, I'm here for it. But if I'm being honest, most of the reason I'm going to see it is because Allison Williams and Violet McGraw are great.
I love Allison Williams so much, and I just, man.
But yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the silly. Also,
the silly and the horrifying.
Yeah. Also, Akilah Cooper, apparently she wrote Malignant.
Yeah.
Malignant is one of the wildest horror movies I've seen in a while, for better and for worse.
I've read the plot summary for that multiple times because every time I come back to it, I forget where it goes.
It's
and then
insane.
I'm like, oh, okay.
I watched that movie, and so to this day I can't tell you if I like Malignant or not, but that tells me that this movie might go in some interesting and weird places, and I'm here for it.
But also, she's got some range because she also wrote episodes for Luke Cage, for The 100, American Horror Story, Avengers Assemble, the cartoon,
right?
Jupiter's Legacy, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, which is one of the more recent Star Trek TV shows. So, like, the range is, whew.
Which is funny because when it comes to film, it's Hellfest, Malignant, Megan, The Nun 2, which is apparently filming, and The Boogeyman. So she's about that horror life, and I'm with it.
But for TV, it's like anything.
Yeah.
Anything goes.
Let's get away from spooky. Spirited. A nice, wholesome Christmas story.
Yes.
Christmas Carol.
Away from Halloween, we're moving on to Christmas.
Yes. Christmas Carol with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Two people I love. And it's a musical. For me, I never know if I'm going to like a musical until the music starts because it really depends on the music. And
I typically love musicals. Like,
yeah.
I don't think I've come across a musical that I dislike.
Well, that's good. Hopefully this is going to be one you like. Also, Octavia Spencer, who we love, legend. Don't know who she's playing. Wikipedia won't tell me.
She's an icon, though.
She is. She don't even need no lines. Just, hey, snap, Octavia Spencer's in the movie. Octavia Spencer, we watching.
I do think that this is interesting because, like, I think I'd seen bits and blurbs and stuff about the movie. And I thought that it was just going to be a modernized A Christmas Carol. And it looks like it's a sequel or like a spinoff to A Christmas Carol.
Maybe, yeah, because he says something about Tiny Tim.
He says it he's like...
And he says,
yeah,
like A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, he, mentions A Christmas Carol by name. He says, oh, you're the ghost of Christmas Present. He mentions Tiny Tim. Like, it seems like this is supposed to be like a spinoff. And I think that's a fun concept. Though it does seem like we're just going to be doing beat by beat what A Christmas Carol is.
Yeah.
But with a couple of little twists and turns here and there.
So we shall see. I have Apple TV, and I will be watching.
It's a musical. Does Ryan Reynolds sing?
I think there was a thing that came out. He was talking about this movie and the fact that he's doing a musical. And I think he said, I can't remember exactly what he said, so I'm not going to try to quote him. But I want to say there was some nervousness surrounding the fact that this is a musical and he's not
here's
a
the thing.
singer.
I've seen
or a dancer.
A lot of actors who get nervous about doing musicals who can sing,
right,
but aren't singers. Like, that's not what they like. Journey Smollett, for instance, when she did Birds of Prey, which is not a musical.
Right.
There are several musical numbers. It is not a musical, but she's playing a singer, which means she has to sing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I was very nervous because I sing, around the house or like in the shower, like a normal person, but I am not a singer. But she has a very good voice.
As weird as this sounds, any famous black woman, you can probably sing. Like, if I find out they can't sing, I'd be much more surprised than to find out they can.
Well, especially since her brother is the very controversial Jussie Smollett, who is a fantastic singer.
Right. And she's been acting for so long that, people are probably like, oh, can she sing? Can she sing? Can she sing?
Because she'd never done anything that required her to sing until, funny enough, Birds of Prey. And then after that, Lovecraft Country, where she also sang.
Right. But like, yeah, y'all can all sing.
Until proven otherwise.
You can sing until proven you can't sing. But yeah, we'll see if he can sing or not. Either way, I think it's going to be funny. I really like Ryan Reynolds. I really like Will Ferrell.
I also like Ryan Reynolds. He has a very specific comedy style that is all his own. And it is very obviously in this trailer.
Yes. And I love that he has that style because for the most part, when you get a trailer for a Ryan Reynolds movie, you know what to expect.
Yeah, you definitely know what you're getting. It's kind of like when you go into a rock movie, like you know what you're going to get.
And I'm with it. I watched both of those and I watch them when they're together. I love it. Those are the trailers we have tracked. Moving on to, non-trailer news. Marvel has delayed several films.
We called it like 2 weeks ago.
As soon as they put out that Deadpool release date, I'm like, come on, fam. Why even say that?
Like,
that's not going to be the
We
release
never
date.
could have guessed that it would have been so soon after they released the release date. But me and Dallas and Colin had already called that they were going to push back Deadpool.
But yeah, Blade, Deadpool, Untitled Deadpool movie, I guess. Fantastic Four and Avengers Secret Wars are all getting new dates.
Already have new dates.
They all have new dates. Yes, Blade is now on September 6, 2024. Deadpool is November 8th, 2024. Fantastic Four is Valentine's Day, 2025. Interesting choice. And Avengers Secret Wars is May 1st, 2026. Fam, don't tell me anything about 2026. That's not a real year.
You know what? Movie studios, stop giving me release dates. Just release the movie.
Who in 2026 is going to be looking back on this date like they said May 1st? What happened? It's 2026. We might all be gone.
Honestly,
who knows what's going to happen?
I would love to go back to the days when movie studios didn't tell you when a movie was coming out.
Yeah.
Until like that final trailer.
Right, like boom, here's the okay, cool. Just say coming soon until it's ready. Yeah, we'll see.
I also feel like that would be beneficial for the movie studios because I don't look at comments ever. But every once in a while I will, and it'll be like they'll put out a trailer for She-Hulk.
Right.
And people will comment on it and go, "Where's the next Black Panther trailer?" Like, you'll get what you get when you get it. You know you're going to see the movie. You know you're going to watch the thing. Shut the fuck up and take it when you get it. Like, these things take a lot of time and a lot of people, and it's like...
And if it took longer time, it would probably be a much better product.
Also that, especially, like... I mean, we're talking what? You said Secret Wars is 2026?
Yep.
That's going to be their tentpole. That's, Endgame. That's Infinity War. If they want to delay that in 2028 to make it as good as it's going to be, like, that's what they're going to do, and you're going to love it anyway. You're going to watch it anyway. You're going to buy tickets as soon as they go on sale. You'll be fine.
Business capitalism dictates that we got to make a certain amount of money within a certain quarter. So I'm
not concerned with these dates until they get closer to me. I'm a little concerned with Blade because they lost a director.
Well, that's why they pushed back the movie. So
yeah. So I hope everything goes well with that. I'll see it when it comes out.
But it's definitely much better for them to push back the movie than for them to be like, let's rush to find a director and keep on schedule.
Right. Good luck, man. We already got this release date because we told people.
Yeah, that would be like super bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
We've seen what happens when you do that. You get Justice League.
But yeah, that's Marvel. They're delaying stuff. See you in a couple years. Dune. Sisterhood.
Yes.
Cast Indira Varma as Empress Natalia.
Again, I don't really know the story of this show.
Got it.
I don't know a lot about Dune outside of what I've seen in the 2021 movie and what I've read in the book and whatever I've read on Wikipedia and inside the tabletop RPG book that I own. But but I don't know anything about Empress Natalia specifically. I do know that the article mentioned that she and her marriage to Emperor Correno, which is the last name of the emperor in Dune. So obviously she is part of that lineage 10,000 years earlier.
All right.
And that they brought a lot of peace during their ruling or something like that. Also, I just love Indira Varma, and I have since Game of Thrones. She was fantastic on that show, and then she went on to do a bunch of other things that I like. She was in the most recent Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and she was great for the short amount of time that she was in it. I want to say that she was in 2 or 3 episodes.
This is when I tell Demi to play more video games. She's great in those too.
So time consuming.
You have time. Let me reiterate. Almost every Thursday, I'm not going to say every because I know they take breaks and they have gaps. You watch 4 to 5 hours of one thing. Yeah. Now I'm not saying take that time and do something else. Like go ahead and do that. I'm just saying you have the capability.
I could probably play video games at the same time as watching Critical Role. The problem would
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to pay attention to one or the other.
I've tried doing that with D&D shows. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. But
I would lose story points for both.
Oh, 100%. Play more video games because she's in the Dragon Age games. Well, she's in one of them. And she's amazing as the character she plays. And I think you would like her a lot. So play Dragon Age Inquisition. Do you need to play the other two games? You probably should. Do you need to? No. You can just play Inquisition because
I think I've played the beginning of one of those games before. I don't remember which one it was.
If you ever want to play them, I mean, I'll buy them for you. I don't give a fuck. I love those games.
But yeah, she also has a small role on, speaking of Critical Role, she has a small role on The Legend of Vox Machina, which is an animated show based off of Critical Role. Yeah, she's just fantastic. She's such a good actress. And the fact that she's playing an Empress, like, I can definitely see it. Like, there was such a regalness to her on Game of Thrones. Such a powerful energy that comes with her acting. I think she also just did a play with Emilia Clarke called The Seagull, which I really, really want to see. I think they're going to put it in theaters on November 3rd, so I'm really hyped. I really want to go see that. I'm glad that this cast is coming together for this show because I really love this Dune universe that they are creating. And I want to see more of it. Like I said last episode, last review, Dune 2021 was one of my favorite movies of last year. So give me more.
And speaking of casting announcements for things that Demi is a nerd about, we have Percy Jackson, the Olympians people.
But Colin is also a nerd for it.
Colin is also a nerd for it.
We do like this.
Colin is actually the person who got me into the books.
Look at that.
Listen, sometimes I spread the good word.
Nerds nerd together. Adam Copeland, Suzanne Cryer, and Jessica Parker Kennedy are in the cast.
Yeah, so Adam Copeland will be playing Ares, which is fantastic news, not because I know who Adam Copeland is, but because it means that the Ares storyline is going to actually be in the show. It was not in the movie, and that was very disappointing for me because I remember when I went to go see the movie, the thing that I was most excited to see was Percy Jackson's showdown with the god Ares, and it was not in the movie at all. Finally getting to witness that will be super, super dope.
Nice.
Suzanne Cryer is playing Echidna,
the mother of monsters,
which I don't remember in the first book at all.
Nor do I, but I also don't remember the first book very well.
I know. I realized I needed to reread it as I was going through like the casting announcement. I was
gonna have to do a whole reread of that series.
I did recently buy the first book for my brother, so I'm gonna have to just take that from him so I can.
And if you
reread
want the rest, you know I have them.
I think I have a few of them on my bookshelf, but I'd have to double check to see which ones I have. I think I have Sea of Monsters.
Okay.
And then Jessica Parker Kennedy, who we both love.
Yo, that's the one. The other two, I was like, okay. Like you said, Ares, and I was like, that's cool. But this one.
But Jessica Parker Kennedy is really what we're here for because, oh my goodness, she's playing Medusa.
That makes me sad.
I wish she had a bigger
guest role.
Yeah.
She'll be in like an episode, and that makes me really sad. I wish she were playing like Persephone or just a goddess who would be around more.
Athena, Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Just, man. But you're a fan of hers from Black Sails.
Yeah.
I have been a fan of hers since she first guest starred on Smallville, like in 2009. So I've been following her career for a very long time. So it's super fun whenever she pops up in things that I already am a fan of. Like when she popped up in The Flash, I was like, that's really cool. When she got the role on Black Sails, I was like, oh, I have to watch the show because it's like, I haven't seen her in a while. I love her in Another Cinderella Story. So I'm super excited about her playing Medusa. I kind of want Rick Riordan to change the ending for Medusa because it's being played by Jessica Parker Kennedy.
Man, does she have a tragic ending in the books?
She dies in the book. He chops off her head.
Yo, they need to change that. Like, I feel like I would want to change that only because
we know more about Medusa and the times have changed.
The feeling around her has changed.
Yeah.
In recent, maybe it was always like this and I didn't know, but I feel like in recent years, there's been a lot more.
She's been reclaimed.
Right, exactly. And I'd like to see her not have to die.
I mean, it's not her fault that Poseidon was messing around with Athena and decided, hey, I'm just going to use one of your priestesses to do it.
Right, like that's the thing is that she got punished for that and then she has to die and like I hope she doesn't. It would make me sad. I don't know what else she would do.
Yeah, I don't know how you change that, but I would like to change it. But also the fact that Jessica Parker Kennedy is so powerful that when she was cast as Medusa, the entire fandom was in agreement that I might just turn to stone is hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
stop. This, you don't get to be horny for this one. You do not get to be horny for this one. I'm saying it now.
Why would you say that? What do you think is going to stop people?
Because the show is about children.
She's 38.
I know, but come on.
People don't care.
She's a grown adult.
She is almost 40, Colin. And I Googled her to figure out who this person is. And the Google images, man, it's nothing but, it's not nothing but thirst traps. But it's a lot of thirst traps.
You see why
people are going to thirst.
But Dallas, you see why people would want to turn to stone, right? They would risk it all just to look at her.
I don't.
There are easier ways to get hard. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying that I might fight Poseidon for her. I'm just saying. If it'll get me on her good side, I might fight a god.
I don't like
They're
you.
not thirsting over the kids. They're thirsting over this grown-ass woman.
I know, but still. Like, come on. Just let this one be.
No, we can't.
They don't let anything... Come on, Colin. You know better.
So, to me.
Yeah.
Oh, see, we're not... Okay, so Dallas said this whole thing earlier, and it was a whole thing, and I really respect it, but to me, you're a monster fucker.
No, I'm not.
Wait,
what?
I did not think that was where this was going.
Medusa.
Medusa.
Okay.
But it's only because it's Jessica Parker Kennedy.
She has to see the character first and then say this
That's
thing, which
true.
she will, and then you're good to go. So far, she's just saying it about this woman who looks like a human.
Yeah, if it looks like Jessica Parker Kennedy, fine.
Right.
Maybe.
I mean, that's the thing is I feel like it's gonna...
It will,
not
more
at
than
first.
likely.
Like, she's gonna look like a person at first, and then the mist will drop, and then...
I am interested to see what she will look like, because the books describe her as ugly.
Good luck with that, niggas.
Good luck with... Well, I mean, if they can pull that off, good luck to the... Congratulations to the makeup artist.
This is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Demi's talking about this, not Medusa, the monster.
That picture is Okay.
It's a lot of that.
Yeah.
So if she sees her with the snake hair and all the scariness and says the same thing, which she probably will, then you're good to go. You got the green light, Colin.
We'll see in 2024, I think, is when the show comes out.
Oh my God, really?
I think it got pushed back to 2024.
I amend my previous statement. Demi, you are on Monster Fucker watch, but we're not getting you a jacket just yet.
I don't think I'll need a jacket for even if that one. That's just one.
I don't know. I want to make you a jacket.
Okay.
We'll find more.
You don't even have one yet. But also, I like Rick Riordan said that her poised, powerful, elegant take on Medusa blew him away. So I'm excited to see what that means for that character. But yeah, if I ended up being a statue in her garden gnome emporium, that's on me. She caught me slipping.
I'm the one who my nerddom doesn't circle around to Percy Jackson,
which is unfortunate. I feel like
if you ever wanted to,
he's cool.
I feel like you would have loved it some of them, as a teenager.
Oh yeah, forgot.
But I have
books, so
I think more of them than you do. So if you ever want to read them, let me know.
That requires Dallas to read.
Come on, you know.
In theory, he does that. He used to read in the time that I've known him.
We need to start a new book club so that we can just read Percy Jackson books.
Honestly, I got suggestions. Let's do it. Book Club 2.0.
But yeah, I'm happy for Adam Copeland as the one person here who knows who he is, because I used to watch wrestling as a kid and I loved it. I didn't know him by his government name. I was like, I was like, oh snap, that's Edge. So good for him. I'm always happy for wrestlers who make it into movies and TV. Acting? Because wrestling is acting. And it's kind of like when actors from a soap opera start acting in other things. It's the same thing, except you have to hit each other with chairs. So I'm happy for him.
Oh, IMDb is still saying that the show is coming out in 2023. So hopefully that's true. Because I really don't want to wait until 2024 for the show.
Yeah, I want it. I want it.
Well, me and Colin have been waiting years for this to finally happen, and we're finally here.
Well, it's like I wasn't waiting for it to happen because I didn't think it would. But then they said it would, and it's like, oh, okay, well, now that it's happening.
I was very hopeful. I've been hopeful for years. And I was like, if somebody doesn't do it by the time I have an actual career, I'm going to do it myself. So.
See, I just figure if something has a bad adaptation, it's probably not going to get another shot.
Aragon, I think, is getting another shot.
Everything
is getting another shot.
Yeah.
That's true, because you can beat it to the ground.
I want Castor Chronicles to get another shot, but I also kind of don't want it to get one unless I can be the one behind it.
So get working to me.
I know.
I feel like most things that we really like now, not most things, but a good amount of things, if we look back, they had a bad adaptation first. And then, they tweaked it and got better.
Except for Harry Potter.
Yeah, they got right to work on that one.
And like Hunger Games. Hunger Games is also really good.
That kind of stuff, because Hunger Games came out, it's not like old. Like the books aren't that old.
No.
When the movie came out, the books were kind of fresh. I was still reading them.
There was something I wanted to tell Colin about the Percy Jackson thing, and I don't remember what it was.
Was it that you like monsters?
No.
Not
Definitely not that.
Not yet.
I mean,
no.
We'll get there.
I'm seeing some pictures.
We will get there.
Put some snakes on this.
It's just a human woman with snakes for hair.
That's true. That's where we get to the line of like, what do you qualify as a? Because
see, no, that's not a monster. That's a human woman with snakes on hair. But I feel like I don't know.
I mean, it depends what they do with Medusa, right?
I've seen Medusa with like a snake tail sometimes.
What the?
That's full-on monster.
No, that's
no. Yeah, I don't know. There are different depictions of her.
I don't like that.
So it's going to depend on how she looks.
It's going to be a backdoor pilot for Colin's other podcast.
Yo.
It should be.
All right. We did it. Thank you for listening to all of that. All of our tangents. Colin throwing accusations at me.
Yeah, some
kind of
very
unfounded.
Aggressive.
Yeah, he jumped the gun a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
He's got a year to find out.
Yeah, so thanks for listening. Always thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing, putting us on YouTube, talking to me about She-Hulk, because Colin didn't watch it, for reasons that are his own.
And talking about fandom with you, because whoo boy.
Yeah, it was always fun. Colin, thank you for your 10-minute take, coming through for the vibes, because you don't review things with us anymore. That we've come to realize that.
But maybe things will change next week. We'll find out.
Maybe.
I'm probably wrong, though.
Audience, what'd you think of... Shut up.
You can't say that, Dallas.
What do you think of Archer, Rings of Power, and She-Hulk? Do you really think She-Hulk isn't good, or are you just sexist? Think about that. Let it marinate in your mind. Look in the mirror and ask yourself.
Do you have actual valid critiques about the show? I would love to know. If you do, comment down below.
I would love to know, and even if you don't, just comment. We need some comments. I'll argue with you. Why not?
I love a good actual critical conversation. Let's go.
Yeah, I just love conversation. Comment section bone dry. Let us know in the comments or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk about Archer and how it has one of the best and most consistent runs on TV in quantity and quality, find me on Twitter and or Instagram at KingNameSimba.
Oh, right. You can find me on Twitter at DuckMcGuck. Talk to me about, let's see.
Leverage?
You can talk to me about the first 10 minutes of Leverage. You can't talk to me about anything past that because I haven't seen it. But talk to me about the first 10 minutes of Leverage.
If you remember it.
You won't.
And you guys can talk to me about almost anything that we've discussed on this podcast, but I'm most excited about Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, She-Hulk, and Jessica Parker Kennedy. So you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DreamyFilms. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us. Tune in later on this week. We will be doing a fan cast in honor of the release of Black Adam.
Oh, yes. That is true. Forgot about that. And if you want to find Gabby, you can find her on Twitter at SheHulkSmashMe. That is all one word, no underscores.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
It's been different. Bye.
I think She-Hulk would approve of that one. Bye.
Previously,
yes,
on the Splash Zone, question mark. We talked about why people might be into Bowser.
Yeah.
And your answer was, he big.
Yeah.
People who want to have sex with She-Hulk. Do we put them in the category of like monster?
No, I would not. To me, it'd be more, she's still Jen.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Medusa still Medusa?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, that's a really good, you really got me there. I have to think about those.
Because if you smash the Hulk.
That's a, yeah.
Is that a monster?
I'm inclined to say yes. We gotta stop. We'll continue this off mic.